Hi, everybody. This is Pastor Kyle, and I am here at our garden with Gio, who's the kind of brains behind the operation. And what we are going to do today is just kind of show it off. We have a lot of neat plants. We harvested a bunch of cabbage yesterday, and I know a lot of people haven't been able to come up here and see it. So we kind of wanted to just show you what's growing and what's going on. So I'm going to flip this around. All right, hi Gio.
Hello.
All right, so we are just going to kind of walk around and see what's growing.
Let's start in this beautiful pollinator garden. This garden is meant to just attract pollinators that will help pollinate the rest of this garden. But it's a very beautiful set of flowers that we just had wonderful crew planting them and taking care of them. I don't know very much about flowers, but they took the lead on all this.
Yeah, I know Ella and Gail did some good work on there.
Gail. There's even a little spot here for butterflies. So they have a little pool here so butterflies can land.
Kind of show up.
And I believe we even planted milkweed here, which is what the monarchs love.
Awesome. So how does this help the rest of the plants?
So this will attract a lot of pollinators, like bees and butterflies, that will then migrate over here to the rest of the garden and pollinate these flowers. We need these flowers to be pollinated to produce fruit. And the first bed is something I just copied online. Basically, these are indeterminate tomatoes. So they're tomatoes that will grow and grow and grow. They'll continue producing.
You can see a few coming in right there.
Yeah. And they'll grow, if we had good weather, they'd grow all the way to next year, but of course the winter's going to kill it. So we need things to help support it. Otherwise they'll just kind of fall to the ground and it will be harder to harvest them. So, and this is a Jet Star tomato, highly recommended for Missouri. And we have some basil here growing, a great companion crop, and marigolds, which is another great companion crop. So the marigolds are supposed to deter rabbits. It has a strong scent and perhaps deter other pests.
Awesome. And that basil, you can just keep picking it, right?
Yeah, we encourage people to pick it because it will actually spawn new growth. As soon as it starts going to seed, it doesn't taste as well. So, you know, you can kind of see it right here. So I just encourage people to go ahead and just cut it and they can have fresh basil.
So if you want a basil tomato mozzarella salad, we were talking about how delicious that is. Come get some fresh.
Yes.
Come get some fresh basil at the church today.
Yes. And then we got some strawberries here, and the strawberries, we've been cutting out the blossoms because we're trying to encourage the plant to devote most of its energy to producing runners. And they told us, don't let it produce strawberries. We want it to really take hold this year and dominate. We put some straw down here in a few of these patches because it will actually help keep the soil moisture down. And for the potatoes, for example, it's very detrimental if the sunlight hits the potatoes. So you need to keep the potatoes covered.
Awesome. So probably no strawberries this year, you said?
No, we won't have any.
But yeah, and I'll show off these cool signs too. So like if you're up here, and a lot of people kind of come and walk, we have this kind of great green space, and there's a neat kind of walking trail where people walk from the neighborhood up to Craig Road, and kind of families come through, and you see people kind of with their dogs out here. So a lot of people kind of come and walk at our garden, and there's a neat little, each of these signs are able to tell you what's growing in here and what we planted and when we're harvesting. And so if you're kind of curious what plant is that, you know, these kind of give you a lot of helpful information.
This next bed is, you know, when I was visiting a lot of the community gardens in the St. Louis area, and I was asking them what to plant, what does well, what dominates, what produces a good yield, the consensus was sweet potatoes, because it dominates an area, and then with 6 small plants. They just grow like ivy, as you can see.
So that's 6 plants?
Yeah, 6 plants.
Wow.
And it will yield a whole lot of sweet potatoes. Come in perhaps September to October. So this is just sweet potatoes. Now I'll have to take this top off. We had rabbits come in here and ate pretty much 90% of this plant down. And by putting this top on, and I did replace a few of the plants, you can see how vigorous the growth has returned.
So with the sweet potatoes in the ground, how will we know when they're ready? Or is it kind of just guessing?
It says here when the leaves and the ends of the vines have yellowed, but I rely on some other master gardeners.
Yeah.
They come here, they volunteer their time. I'm leaning on them for a lot of those types of questions. Over here we have some pole beans. So they're a little bit stunted in growth, but they've just started taking off. They're beans that actually need some type of support. And we also have carrots, Swiss chard. We already harvested all the radishes. It was an enormous amount of radishes.
So this is the carrots.
Yeah, there's some kale over here. And more carrots. And you can typically...
Here's the kale.
Yeah. I don't see any carrots that are ready yet.
There's a butterfly flying around out here.
Yeah. Over here we had something interesting happen. We had a mother rabbit build a nest in here, right in here. And she had at least one baby in here, but the baby's not here. We left it alone. And when this is the area that had a whole lot of cabbages. We harvested them on Monday.
Yeah. And if you follow our Facebook page, there's a picture posted yesterday of the several boxes of cabbage that we donated to Loaves and Fishes, local food pantry. So some of this stuff is for like our community, so for local people to come and eat, and many of them are helping us kind of grow it too.
Yeah.
And part of it we also give to the food pantry. And if you've been in a food pantry, so much of it is cans and preserved kind of things. So they're always like really, really thankful to have fresh harvest to give out to people as well.
Very true. They were so grateful for the cabbages. And they did say something to that sort, fresh produce is always better. So they were grateful.
And are these are more tomatoes?
These are Roma tomatoes. Yeah, so these are the plum tomatoes. And they're doing better now that I've harvested the cabbages. They were suffering from tomato wilt.
Yeah, some good ones coming in.
Yeah. They're growing pretty big. I think they like the heat.
Glad someone does.
And given the St. Louis heat, I knew tomatoes would do real well. So this is even yet another kind of tomato. We have 3 different kinds. Romas, these are early girls, and those are jet stars. And we are trying a different way of growing them. Here we just used a stake, and we're just kind of connecting it using ties or whatever else we have. In this method, we're just encouraging these tomatoes to grow in between this jute string, and it will act as a support for the tomatoes. I currently like this method the best, but I wanted to try them. Here's some great basil that's really taken off. We've picked so much of it. By picking it, it just encourages it to grow more.
Yeah. Okay, come get some basil.
Yeah. So basil's in season right now.
There's some more basil. Did we pull up some of the? I saw some of the garlic. This is the last.
The last garlic.
Our last garlic.
Yeah.
Was there one that we?
Yeah.
That we grabbed. Yeah.
Right over here.
So yeah, we had a little bit of this is the last of our garlic that we planted over here. Oh, there's a awesome bunch of tomatoes coming in.
I'm waiting for those just to turn red.
Here's the spicy stuff.
So there's some, this is all kind of mixed. There are some bell peppers in here, and there are some spicy peppers in here.
So there's a good bell pepper coming in.
And we have some
Part of
bush
our
beans.
weed harvest.
So we have two kinds of beans. Those are pole beans that require a trellis. These are just bush beans that grow like a bush.
And I know earlier we had a few
I've already
that had
picked
come
some.
in. Yeah, we've already had some of the beans come in.
We picked some even yesterday. And you can see a lot of flowers, so we're going to have a good one coming in. And they're harder to see. You know, honestly, you do have to get on your knees to kind of take a look. But it's nice, you know, we have this is officially called a berm. I was calling them mounds for the longest time, but they're berms. So, you know, on this side I can easily access anything that's growing from the center over. And on the other side we can do likewise. And some wonderful kids, Laura and Megan, this is Doug's kids, planted this okra from seed. And it's just taken off. And Loaves and Fishes specifically asked for okra. So
Awesome.
yeah, so they'll get all this. I have some more bush beans growing here. It's just a different variety, just to kind of try new things. And all these things that look like they're dying, this is normal. This is potatoes. And very shortly we'll be harvesting them. You can see we did have to put down a lot of straw because as they grow, the potatoes come closer to the surface. And one of my the master gardeners that I consult all the time, Myra, she told me to make sure that sunlight does not hit the potatoes, otherwise it produces a toxin. And it's unhealthy to people. You can get sick. And the last is the eggplant. This is something else that Loaves and Fishes really wanted. So I tried this with 4 plants, but they're just growing pretty slow. We'll see what's going on. We'll see how they take off. But I'm hoping we can get some eggplant for them.
And then some of the really spicy stuff.
Yeah, this is a serrano. So this is hotter than a jalapeno, but it does produce a lot. So, you know, when I pick, I only pick one, and I might only eat half of it.
Yes, there's one of the little peppers.
So
They may look small, but you don't need much of them.
Some exciting developments that will be happening is we're going to try a fall planting sometime in August. So we'll be planting winter squashes. We'll be planting more lettuce, carrots. Sure, there's a few other things. So as things are harvested, we're going to be doing additional plantings. And we rely on that compost a whole lot because planting 3 different crops in 1 year, we have to constantly amend to the soil and add nutrients back.
So yeah, so we're in the summer season, obviously. So in our spring, we've already harvested quite a few things.
Yeah, so we harvested all the lettuce. The lettuce did real well here. The garlic.
And I had
kale.
a week of salad from some of that lettuce. It was amazing.
Yeah, we got the garden started late because of COVID. If we would have had it a little bit earlier, you know, a lot of these plants would have been further along. But, you know, we're just happy to have the garden.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of amazing. I mean, you can look at everything that's here now, but nothing was here until Easter. That's when we came out and built Gateway Greening, helped us build the berms, and that's when we put the soil in. I mean, until Easter, it was just grass, like the rest of our field.
Yeah.
So to think at how far it's come in just 2 months is pretty incredible.
Yeah. I completely agree. It's a lot of help. You know, we have had so many people helping. So it's all good. It's all good news, and it gives us something productive to do
Yeah.
with all this extra time. I kind of look at this sometimes as my little grocery store. So I live close by, so when I need something, if I need carrots or garlic, basil, pretty soon tomatoes, I'll just run over here, pick some, and run back home.
And Geo runs a coffee shop in Maplewood, and so you see some of the items from there that we've used, some of the coffee bags, and I know you've used part of the, forget what it's called, that you put in the
chef.
The chef, yeah.
Yeah. So we, I'm a firm believer in reuse. So we reuse the coffee sacks. We reuse the Grain Pro bags, which is just a plastic, a real heavy-duty bag that's inside here. And I've been adding 3 buckets of coffee grounds into this every single week, along with chaff and anything else. A lot of compost, regular home compost.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
And it's been a neat partnership and we started talking about a year ago about starting this garden, and I don't think any of us had any idea how to actually do it.
Right.
But we had this amazing partnership where we met Myra and some others over at the Garden of Eden at the Jewish Community Center. And we've been able to, before we were able to start the garden, we had to do, I forget how many volunteer hours, like 20 to 30 volunteer hours that most of us spent over at the Garden of Eden. And Myra came and spoke at church back in February, I think, before before everything hit. But she's donated lots of seedlings, I know, to us, and
her expertise, honestly, we wouldn't have been successful without her. She's been here a couple times on work days.
Yeah.
But I'm always contacting her, taking pictures of plants. Is this normal? When do we harvest this? Are these good companion crops? And so she's an unbelievable resource.
So yeah, it's neat to have that partnership,
Yeah.
with her. And so when are people coming out right now to help out?
Our work days now, because it's starting to get hot, I'm doing it in the evenings, and it's Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m. I ask that people sign up because I'm trying to limit it to 3 volunteers plus myself. So it's 4 people, so we can still do our social distancing. And honestly, right now, it's not the real busy season. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for things to grow. What we always have to do is weed and water. I have a watering crew that's been helping out a whole lot, so I can lean on them at any time. But every week we're weeding and watering. But come August, we'll be harvesting a lot more, and we'll be planting a lot more. So there'll be a lot more work, and I might expand it to Saturday mornings as well.
Yeah.
From 8 to 9.
Yeah, and after that we get this video posted, I can post on kind of the comments about the sign up link, and we also have a group created, and Geo sends out an update just about every week with kind of info on what's going on at the garden, and kind of what we're harvesting and what we're planting and all that kind of stuff. So even if you'll never get over to the garden, it's just a fascinating project to follow. I wouldn't have ever known about like the straw and the potatoes until I read about it in one of Geo's messages. So if you're interested, we'd love to have you follow along with that. Awesome. Well, any last things you want to talk about?
Well, if anyone has any really strong suggestions for next year's planting, I'm working with Steve on the plants, choosing what we're going to be planting for next year. I know Steve has bought a growing kit, so we can start off a lot of the seeds inside his house.
Oh, cool.
And he can produce seedlings. So we have some ideas on what we want to grow next year, but if somebody has anything real specific, I'm always open-minded. Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's neat to see it's been a real community effort, and that it's not just our church people that are doing it, but we have a lot of people from the neighborhood that have come out and volunteered and have been able to share in the harvest with us as well. We really see it as not just our church garden, but as a really a
True
true community garden for everyone that lives around here, whether you go to Mount Zion or not. But I guess the last thing, eventually we're going to get a sign, right?
A sign and a new compost bin, but I just heard yesterday that Jackson, one of my two main contacts from Gateway Greening, might have COVID, so everything's delayed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we are going to get a beautiful sign that will be put out there in the flower garden, and we'll be getting another compost bin.
Oh, cool.
From Gateway Greening.
And we have to pick a name eventually, right?
We will have to pick a name. This will be kind of fun. You know, what do we want to name this community garden? You know, it's amazing that Myra's garden at the J, they really came up with a creative name, the Garden of Eden. So we can get creative as well.
I keep pulling for West of Eden, but I'm sure someone can be more creative than me.
For now, I just refer to it as Mount Zion, but we don't have a sign, and we don't have a sign yet. So
Yeah.
I kind of want to come up with that official name, and then get that sign in.
Cool. Well, thanks for everyone watching, and thanks for Gio coming out. And if you have any questions, feel free to let us know.
Yeah.